I, 20 female, am the oldest of four and no longer live with my parents. Our relationship is not so good either. One of the biggest reasons is my parents flipped the script with my siblings regarding gifts for Christmas and birthdays. My siblings are a teen, a younger teen, and a tween, so 4 years are between me and their next kid. I know it's a bigger gap than, say, 2 years, but it's not huge either. Yet they parented them so differently and spoiled them. For me, gifts were needs and not wants. I was told I should appreciate having food in my belly, a roof over my head, and clothes on my back. They would tell me I didn't need it if I asked for something I wanted. I didn't need a doll. I didn't need art supplies. I didn't need a toy kitchen. They never said that to my siblings. They would get dolls, action figures, bikes, trampolines, paint sets, jewelry kits, and all kinds of fun toys. They also got cell phones and tablets when they got older. I usually got clothes. Sometimes I would get cheap basic hygiene products, body wash and stuff. My parents made it a huge point to nip it in the bud when I was upset with my underwhelming gifts, especially when my siblings came along. They told me they were babies, they were little, etc. But that energy was never there for me. I do resent it. I had all the basics, but my siblings had so much more than that. My siblings are also very spoiled and entitled because of it. My sister, teen, used to bug me and get frustrated with me for not having nice stuff she could borrow. She asked me once, what was the point of having a sister if she couldn't raid my closet? I told her it wasn't my fault our parents didn't buy me nice crap like her. She laughed and said to me, that's what being the oldest means. My brothers would tell me to buy them stuff and say they got pocket money, so I did. I never got pocket money. When I explained that I didn't have it, it would end with them saying I was a baby. I moved out of my parents' house and in with my aunts. I stayed with them for several months when I started college, and now I share an apartment with some friends while we all attend college. I also work. My parents have fallen on hard times now, and right before Christmas. They told me they didn't have the money to get my siblings what they wanted for Christmas, and told me I needed to let them borrow money or buy the gifts on their behalf, and they would pay me back. I told them it's not my job to provide for my siblings when they cannot. They argued that my siblings would be disappointed to get nothing from their wish list. I told them they don't need nice gifts. They only need clothes and food and a roof over their heads, and they have all that. My parents said I'm a terrible big sister. Am I the idiot? Oh, your siblings might be disappointed not to get lovely gifts at Christmas. Hey, they have food in their belly, a roof over their head, and clothes on their back. That's good enough, right? Right? It sure as heck was good enough for you. You, my young friends, are not the idiot, and also a genius for throwing that stupid retort they always made back in their faces. Oh, you just know they hated hearing it. Nah, you did absolutely nothing wrong. You held a mirror up to their bad parenting, and they don't like it. Don't give them a cent, because they won't pay you back. Yep, they're reaping what they've sown, and they need to live within their means, and that includes Christmas presents. You're 20, don't have much spare cash, and it's not your responsibility. Your siblings don't want for anything. It's not going to hurt them to have a thin Christmas. I wish I could say that it might help them appreciate what they do have, but I doubt it. If I were in your shoes, I'd donate to a children's charity in each of their names as a gift. Geez, your parents suck. No matter how much OP helps out, it will never be enough. She could give them the shirt off her back, and they'll still say it's not enough. That's the life of a scapegoat child. I cut my family off for similar reasons to the OP, and despite having been no contact for years, they apparently still blame me for every little thing that's gone wrong in their lives. Things I had nothing to do with. And that's how things go when you grow up as the scapegoat without realizing it. My daughter's husband has lived in their apartment for several years. The owners recently sold it, and the new ones are moving in, so my daughter and her husband must move. The problem is that rents have gone up dramatically. The rent they're paying is $1,100 for a one-bedroom, which I thought was a lot. But now that I'm trying to help them find a place, most are now going for around $2,000 a month or more. They can't afford this. My daughter knows she's always welcome at home. Granted, a baby complicates things. I wasn't happy about her having a baby. She's young, just turned 22. But I would never deny her housing. However, I can't stand her husband. Let's just call him Aaron, for simplicity's sake. I wouldn't invite Aaron over for dinner, let alone let him live with me. Aaron's in his mid-30s, criminal history, hair-triggered temper, chronic immaturity and jealousy. Possessive streaks have caused a strain in their relationship, which I obviously don't approve of. Honestly, when she told me she was pregnant, I finally thought we'd be rid of Aaron. I genuinely thought he was exactly the kind of man to ditch. They've been on and off over and over since she was about 18 or 19. Alas, if anything, it made him cling to her tighter. They had a very rushed wedding, and this is their longest stint together, without any breakups, just over a year. There's still been a fair share of dramatics, of course, but I'm surprised they've made it this far. Even so, I simply don't want to live with Aaron. I don't like him. I don't want him around me. I'd go above and beyond for my daughter and the baby. They can stay as long as they need, but not him. Obviously, this has created a rift between my daughter and me. She doesn't want to live separately from Aaron. I told her that she needed to figure out alternative arrangements. Well, their move-out date is rapidly approaching, next week, and they've still not been able to find a place, and she's panicking. She's been begging me to let them stay. I reiterated my terms. Aaron simply cannot stay here. This led to a lot of tears and some angry words, namely me being an idiot. I can genuinely see why she might think that, but I also have to think of myself and my own sanity. Not the idiot. If she's adult enough to get pregnant and get married, she's also adult enough to figure things out. Either she accepts your terms, it's your house, or they can stay with friends or his family. Can't have it both ways. Aaron's a one-man communist parade. He comes with so many red flags. A man in his 30s chasing a teenager, criminal record, anger management issues, jealous and possessive and controlling. The best thing you could do for your daughter would be to get her to leave Aaron, but unfortunately she's not ready. Keeping this boundary and keeping your home open to her and her child only may in fact work in the long run when she's ready to leave, because she will know she has a safe place open to her. But until then, you're likely going to be kept away from your daughter and grandbaby. Your daughter and Mr. Wonderful have had ample time to find housing. It's down to the wire. You've opened your home to your daughter and the baby. It's not your responsibility to bail out two broke adults with a baby. Mr. Wonderful can find a temporary place to stay. Your daughter's young, and I'm sure she thinks Mr. Wonderful hung the moon, but their predicament isn't your problem to solve. You've offered her a place to stay. The ball is in her court. She chose a loser, and that carries consequences. Stand your ground, OP. I'd go above and beyond for my daughter. Evidently not. If that were true, your daughter and her husband would already be living with you. Or better, you would have stopped a grown man from grooming your teenage daughter years ago. So it's time to nut up or shut up. If you truly go above and beyond for your daughter, as you claim, then it should be obvious what to do. I-19 male recently moved into a shared place, and someone keeps stealing my food. At first I thought it was a mistake, but even my leftovers were being eaten. It was obvious that the person was doing it on purpose. I spoke to my housemates about how I just prefer to be asked first, but they were nonchalant about it, and none of them admitted to doing it. I haven't caught anyone in the act, so I just tried to ignore it, as it only happened every couple of days or so. A few days ago, I came home from work with a carton of eggs that I found while dumpster diving and some bread. I wanted to give the eggs the water test before eating them, just to make sure they were safe to consume, but I was too tired and went to bed early without eating. The next day, I found out that one of my housemates got so sick, He ended up having to go to the emergency room. My eggs were not in the fridge where I left them, but I saw the carton and shells in the trash, and my bread was opened. I had a hunch that it was him, because there was a possibility that the eggs had gone bad, but I was also annoyed at the fact that he helped himself to my food without asking. When he returned, I asked him if he had eaten my eggs and bread, but he denied it. I then said, "Okay, but I hope whoever ate them didn't get as sick as you did, because I found those eggs in a dumpster." His face immediately dropped, and he looked visibly uncomfortable. He got angry and went from saying that he may have consumed the food by mistake, as he wasn't paying attention and doesn't exactly remember, and accusing me of poisoning him. He said it's a health hazard to bring such food in a communal space without warning everyone first, as it's not uncommon for people in shared places to eat other people's food by mistake. He hasn't spoken to me since then, and my housemates are siding with him and calling me disgusting for doing that. A part of me feels like I wasn't wrong because they were my eggs that I fully intended to eat, and I didn't think I had to warn people against eating food that didn't belong to them. But I also do feel bad and guilty that he got sick. So please tell me if I was in the wrong. Not the idiot. If the housemates prefer a communal food sharing system, they had the opportunity to discuss this with you when you brought it up. They also could have asked you to label your food so they didn't accidentally mix things up. But it sounds like they didn't take that opportunity either. This sounds like karma to me. OP, you did nothing wrong. Your forgetful roommate is a piece of work. Once or twice I can see food going missing in a communal fridge, but chronically and with nobody fussing up is the work of a BS artist feeding you lies and hoping that you restock the fridge so his stomach can be full. Someone is lying to your face and eating your food. Who doesn't have the guts to admit their error and think that you're dumb enough to believe their weak, flimsy excuse? Full stop. Tell them you're insulted for this reason, and your sick roommate got what was coming to him. He merely got to experience the occupational hazard of being a thief. My sister's been having a hard time with her husband. She's the breadwinner and mom of their 2 kids. She works hard all the time, and him, not at all. He was unemployed for 10 years, and only after the global issue did he get a call center job. Lately, he's been accusing her of having an affair. It's really taking its toll on her as it's not true, and she doesn't have time for this crap. He's been doing this for years. They had kids, and the accusation stopped, but they started again a few months ago. She asked me for advice. I suggested that they have the Life 360 app on their phone, so we can see where she is at all times to prove he's talking crap. Not the best suggestion, I know. But when I suggested divorce in the past, before the kids, it didn't go down too well. Anyway, I offered this app to hopefully buy her some time to think, etc., etc. She told him about it. He immediately shut it down, refused to have the app, and as far as I know, the accusation ceased immediately. I found this suspicious. If you're so convinced she's cheating, wouldn't you like to track her whereabouts? Unless you have something to hide and therefore don't want to be tracked yourself. I told my sister this, and now she's upset with me, blocked me, and told me to screw off. Am I the idiot for getting suspicious? Edit. I was in her position once, so I felt qualified to help when she asked. I eventually left my ex. As it turns out, he was the one cheating. Since my sister wants to put up with this, the tracking app was the only viable advice I could give. Not the idiot, but I'd just stay out of this from now on. I agree with you that he sounds suspicious. I hate saying that, but maybe he's projecting. I don't know. Your sister's apparently repeatedly asked for your advice, so it's not like you're butting in or inserting yourself where it's not wanted. Still, I recommend not engaging in this topic any further. If she unblocks you and asks for advice on whatever is going on with her husband, next time just say something along the lines of, "Sorry, but I don't want to talk about this anymore. This couple needs therapy, not you. Not my circus, not my monkeys. Oh, he's cheating for sure. She knows it, but she doesn't want to admit it. You can't help someone who doesn't want to help themselves. Leave her to it. Eventually, he will leave her for some younger model, or she'll come to her senses. Stay out of it. She won't want to feel alienated when she needs you all. Carry on as normal and don't interfere. Just be there when she needs it. There may be more she's leaving out. If you cut her off, she won't feel safe to leave when the time is right. Oh, I'm sure the story his side piece heard is way different from this one. I work my butt off all day at my glamorous, high-paying job, while my horrible wife cheats on me all day. OP, be available when sis and nibblings need you again. Listen but refuse to advise. I feel sorry for the kids, though. As a child, I saw my father accuse my mom of cheating, something a child never forgets. Turns out he was cheating on my mom and projecting it on her. When they separated and finally divorced, we as kids understood. My mom, 64, is polite and generally keeps a distance away from my wife, 26. My wife has trouble with social interaction, and they got off to a horrible start. My wife, I'm going to call her Lily, was in foster care and never had a parental figure, and she went hard into trying to become my mom's kid. I think it would have happened if my wife had let the relationship grow naturally, but she didn't take any of my warnings and bulldozed what my mom wanted. A few examples. She kept calling her mom, even after she told her multiple times to just call her by her name. Lily would make her uncomfortable, especially when she asked my mom personal questions or went way too deep. I've talked to her so many times, but she doesn't stop. The family's taken their concerns with me and have told her to stop. The big turning point was when my mom and her daughters, my sisters, went to visit a deceased family member. It's a tradition between the three of them. Well, Lily heard about it and went. It went very poorly, and my sisters dislike Lily now too. We're invited to events and are still in the family, but the women of the family keep their distance. There's a girls' trip coming, and she wasn't invited. This made my wife very upset and was ranting. I had enough when Lily said she was her kid. I snapped and told her, my mother would never be her mom, and you need to stop. She ended up crying, and now I feel guilty. I just don't know how to get it through her head that she needs to stop. I've talked with her so many times, and she's already in therapy. I see both sides of the story here. I feel so sad for your wife, but also for your family. I can imagine your wife thinking for a long time that once she gets married, she'd finally have parents. It was her last chance to get some in her mind, I'm sure. Unfortunately, that's not how life always works, and I don't think you were the idiot for saying what you said. It's good that you did. She can finally realize that they'll never accept her as their own. Hopefully, she'll stop trying so hard. My heart goes out to her, though. Sure does sound like the therapy isn't working. I'm sure you could have told her what you did gentler, but I'm still going, not the idiot. It sounds like she's been warned and told so many times. At what point does she take responsibility for her actions? Your family's enforcing boundaries. Lily can't or won't behave appropriately towards them. So your family members are minimizing her opportunities to behave inappropriately. Info. Why is your mom so against her being close to her in the first place? I'm shocked by how many people judge based only on the information at hand. The timeline is confusing to me. When did she start calling her mom? How did the family welcome her or not welcome her? Everyone's talking about boundaries, but I'm sorry. Asking personal questions of a family you're married to doesn't sound like some awful thing. Mom seems to be insensitive. I mean, she has the right to set up boundaries, but it almost seems like she isn't willing to accept OP's wife as part of the family. I feel very sorry for Lily.